When we talk about getting connected, as a parent, and like any of you I would expect in this room, the first things that go through your mind are not all the fun and interesting and educational things they can get connected to. The first thing that goes through your mind are all the not so good things they can get connected to, or the really, really bad things that they might get connected to. And so we need to address that. The school district, as all school districts, is required to have certain filters in place. The federal standard for those filters, I believe, is not sufficient. We have put in place some standards. We comply with the federal standard, but we try to exceed the federal standard in our filtering of things here at the school district. I know, even though we do that as a school district, some of our filters aren't enough for the standards in your household. And as a school district, we have to find a happy medium in terms of how high we want to set that bar and still have the device function in the classroom. A couple of examples of this. I get the question all the time, do you block social media? The answer is yes, most social media we block. We are currently not blocking YouTube and Facebook. The reason we're not blocking YouTube and Facebook right now is because we have so many teachers that are using those in their classroom that we would shut off some of the classroom programs that are happening throughout the school district right now. Our answer to YouTube up until now has been to try to use YouTube for education, which blocks and filters most things on YouTube and makes it more appropriate for schools. YouTube for education is going away, so we are working on a different answer for that. We may have to end up blocking YouTube before we're done with that if we can't find the answer that meets our standard. In the meantime, while we're working on that, moms and dads and students, I would encourage you to go look at the settings in YouTube itself and set up, if you're worried about content and things coming across, set up the filters in YouTube itself to the restricted settings. That will block almost everything anybody wants to do on YouTube, but it will for sure block the bad stuff that's on YouTube. Again, we're evaluating this. We'll figure out our side of it. We'll put information out about this. But I encourage you to explore these kinds of things. Part of becoming a digital citizen, part of learning how to use these resources together, and it is a partnership to do that, is learning about those kinds of settings that are out there. With the filters in YouTube, you can get pretty specific sometimes too if you really look at how to do that. But the simplest way to go is just turn on the safety mode in YouTube. You just scroll down to the bottom of any YouTube screen and set it up for the safety mode. Now, if your son or daughter has their own YouTube account, that won't completely do it. You need to get them to set it up on safety mode on their YouTube account as well. So we're well aware that there's workarounds. And anything we talk about with filters, there seems to be a workaround for it. That's one of the things that worries all of us about digital technologies. The problem that we have, and the reason that comes up, is every single day we're adding to our list of things to block. And we have really big filters that do that and go out and search for these things and add them to the list of things to block. But also, every single day, there's people out there finding ways to get around filters and trying to add those websites so that you get to things you're not supposed to get to or see things you're not supposed to see. Another part of being a good citizen is reporting people who don't follow the rules on Facebook and YouTube and other programs like that. If we as good users of those technologies aren't reporting the bad use will continue to dominate those fields. And we want that to go away as much as we can. There's also ways to look at your own use of the internet, and we'll talk about that in a minute. As we do talk about that, you'll find out there's ways to customize what kind of content comes to you. And keep that stuff from just randomly popping up in the sidebars and things like that. Along with filtering, we have mobile device management on these devices. Mobile device management enables us to do several things. First, it helps my technology department to be able to manage and upload and add new programming anytime it comes into the school district without making your son or daughter check the laptop in for a week while we upload all those things. That used to be how we did things like that. We'd have to handle each one and upload separately the program to each separate machine. That's no longer what we have to do with these mobile device management tools. The other thing the mobile device management allows us to do is keep track of the device and what it's doing. Some people will feel like this is spying on you. We are at no time trying to spy on you. That's not our goal in life. However, it is possible for us to go through, and even if you're deleting your history from your search menu, we can go through and see everything you looked at on the internet. We can go through and see what kinds of things you searched for on your computer. We can go through and even see what applications you opened and how long you use them. So if Microsoft Office Word is your favorite thing to use and you're using it for all your schoolwork, we're going to see that you use Microsoft Office Word a whole lot. We are required to have something like this in place on any device we issue from the school district. It's an anti-theft device, as well as a management device, as well as a device that informs us whether we're making the right kinds of choices with what we're buying for the school, what we're using in this platform. So at the end of a school year, we will look at all the data that comes from student use, and we'll see that somebody never turned on a certain kind of program, or it only got used 3 or 4 times the whole year. So if PowerPoint isn't something we need to buy as a school district, we don't want to pay for PowerPoint. Microsoft fixed that already, because they make you buy everything whether you want it or not. But that's an example of something we might try to do to save some money for the school district. Similarly, we will know if there are programs we're buying online for the support of the classroom, if those are really being used or not. And if they're not being used, we'll have a discussion with teachers about whether or not that's really something we want to spend the money on as a school district again. And then the state wants to know that data because they want to start gathering a list of what are the most supportive programs for education out there. What really is happening, helping in the classroom as we use these digital technologies. And we're starting to find ways to gather all of that kind of information. Now, the anti-theft part of the mobile management. There's a camera on the computer. How many have heard the story about some school district turning on the camera and watching what's going on in your house? Has anybody heard that happen about 3 or 4 years ago? Yeah, that's happened before. Our camera cannot be turned on unless we're doing a police investigation. And the only time we're going to be doing a police investigation is if somebody is caught doing something illegal on the computer, or if somebody comes in and reports to us that the computer is stolen. At that point, we will look at the mobile device management, which also tells us where the computer has been when it's been turned on. It will show us a map that tracks its daily path, and that's when we access it again, is when there's an investigation going on. And at that point, we try to find where the computer currently is. If we can't find it, we also try to take a picture of whoever's using it when it's on. If that doesn't work, if those things don't work to recover the device, we have another part of the mobile management that allows us to make the device not work for whoever stole it. And that's the last thing we would do if we could not recover a device, because it doesn't work when we get it back either. Question?
So, would it be possible for, like, if somebody stole it, for them to uninstall it before, like...
That has been the case in the past with some of these devices. With this particular mobile device management, that's one of the promises we have, is that it will give us that information and not allow them to uninstall or wipe it without us getting a report that it's been tampered with or stolen. So that information comes automatically to us at that point. So it's really a protection for all of us. There's a big temptation out there for people to steal these kinds of devices from each other or from students as they see them with them. Of course, we want students to be cautious, but we do not want students to answer for somebody else's bad behavior if they're doing the things we're asking them to do to keep the device safe and be careful with it.